1 year ago, a lab in Thailand sent me this plant in a jar. Instead of potting it in soil like a normal person, I decided that I wanted to clone it, and then I cloned it over and over and over again. And now I've got like 500 copies of that one plant that I started with. And today I want to show you how I did it. If you've never seen me before, my name is Lore and I make videos about plant tissue culture, which is the process of rapidly cloning plants in a sterile environment. Although tissue culture looks very complicated, it's actually a pretty simple process and anyone can learn how to do it, even at home. Today I'm going to be working with a philodendron red Anderson, but tissue culture works for pretty much any type of plant, even the ones that cost more than your rent. So do with that information what you will. Also, before I get started, the plants that I'm working with today are now in print, published in a magazine. And people have been saying that Greenhouse Management magazine is the new Vogue. Okay, let's do some tissue culture. Here's where we're starting. A baby plant, already in TC, sitting in tissue culture media. The media is the gel that the plants grow in. This one is a mint monstera, but you can see the gel here, tissue culture media. You can make the media very easily by yourself at home with just a couple of ingredients, which I'll get into in a minute. But for now, you just need to know that the multiplication media that we're transferring this plant into is going to contain hormones that tell the plant cells they need to start dividing. The faster the plant cells can multiply, the more shoots our baby plants will produce in a shorter amount of time, and the more clones we'll get for our clone army. To prevent contamination as much as possible, I was working inside of a still air box for this transfer. The purpose of a still air box is to prevent the air from moving, and therefore it reduces the risk of contamination. When you open a culture vessel, whether it's a glass jar or a deli container, you're exposing the baby plant and the tissue culture media to all sorts of contaminants that are in the air, like dust and bacteria and fungus. If any of that lands in the culture container, it will become contaminated and you'll have to start the entire process over with a new plant or explant. You can't outrun the fungus is among us, which is why we need to work either inside a still air box or a laminar flow hood. Here is the final result after that initial transfer. And now we wait. If you wanted to make multiplication media at home to start cloning plants, it's very easy to do. Everything that I use to make the media will be linked below. The ingredients that you include in the media are pretty standard, but the ratios will be different depending on what type of plant you're trying to clone. My philodendron recipes are very simple, and they're outlined in the philodendron protocol in the Plants in Jars protocol library. The protocol library is a collection of step-by-step instructions for tissue culturing different types of plants, and I give different instructions for whether you're working in a still air box or a laminar flow hood. If you purchase anything from my website, you automatically get access digitally to the protocol library. But if you live outside the US and can't order from my website, I also do just sell the protocols for $15. Anyways, I'm not going to share the full philodendron protocol today, but I do want to show you how to make the multiplication media. To make 1 liter of media, I start with 800 milliliters of distilled water, and we'll top that off at the very end. Following the recipe outlined in the protocol, I measure out 4.44 grams of MS, or Murashige and Scooge. This is a foundational ingredient in tissue culture, and it includes major and minor salts, as well as some vitamins that help plant growth in vitro or in tissue culture. It's actually a mix of many, many different ingredients in a very specific ratio. Next, I add 30 grams of sucrose, and sucrose is just sugar. Plants are sort of like kids in that sugar gives them a lot of energy to do stuff.
You guys gotta relax.
I mentioned earlier that multiplication media contains hormones that help plant cells to divide faster. This is BAP. BAP is a phytohormone that does exactly that, and it's used in many, many different tissue culture protocols, especially for aeroids like monsteras, philodendrons, alocasias, scindapsus, syngonium. I'll stop. This protocol calls for 1 milligram per liter of BAP. The solution is in a concentration of 1 milligram per milliliter. So I just need to measure out 1 milliliter and add that to our brew here. The last ingredient we need to add to our media is agar, which will turn our media from a liquid to a solid. Typically, we add between 6 to 8 grams of agar for solid media, and this protocol calls for 7, which is right smack in the middle. The final step is to top off the water to the 1 liter mark, and then we're going to take an initial pH reading. We usually want the pH to be close to 5.7 for most plants, and philodendrons are no exception. So I used the hydroponic up solution a few drops at a time until I got close enough to 5.7. After that, I pressure cooked the media for 15 minutes at 15 psi to sterilize it and make sure there was no biological material in the goo. I'm also going to link a more in-depth tutorial below in case you need more help making tissue culture media. I kind of ran through it very quickly, but I have other videos where I talk about everything ad nauseum, maybe too in detail. So if you are new here, these are the stages of tissue culture, and right now we're in the multiplication stage. Plants in TC need to get subcultured typically every 6 to 8 weeks. If you don't give them fresh media, then after a while the nutrients in the media will deplete, or you can have problems like hyperhidricity. I don't have a video of that transfer because, to be honest, I didn't know I was going to end up with 500 plants and want to make a video about it. But after that transfer, you can see there are some baby little philodendrons starting to form at the base of the plant at that node, which is a very fortuitous sign. In the late summer of last year, I was working on a sponsored video for another company about temporary immersion. So I was throwing plants into temporary immersion willy-nilly. Here are some photos you can see of the growth that we experienced during that time frame. Temporary immersion is very similar to growing plants on solid media, except for the media is liquid instead of solid, and you're fully immersing the plants once or twice a day in that tissue culture media for a few minutes. The media recipe that I used for that liquid tissue culture media was exactly the same as the media recipe that I showed you a few minutes ago. The only difference is that we don't use any agar, because we want the media to be liquid, not solid. If you're replicating what I did to grow all of these philodendrons, you can skip the temporary immersion. It's not necessary, but PIJ had bills to pay. In October, I decided that I was going to take all these plants out of tissue culture and just acclimate them to growing in soil and do a little acclimation video. I thought it was over for these plants, to be honest, and it sort of was. I was planning to just pull these plants out of tissue culture and be done with it, but I had some extra philodendron multiplication media lying around that day, and I can't help myself. So for all of the plants that were too small or just not fully formed enough to come out of tissue culture, I just put them onto some multiplication media and called it a day, again with that same media recipe that I showed you earlier. Which is crazy because it means that all the plants that I end up with at the end of this video, which is a lot, you saw the title, are just from the biological scraps of another project. Biology is crazy. A few of the plants that I did decide to keep against better judgment, obviously, were fully variegated, meaning they didn't have any chlorophyll, so they show up just completely white as opposed to green and white. I thought it would just be interesting to see how long they could last sans photosynthesis. Spoiler alert, not long. In January, my intern Annalisa subcultured all of these plants onto fresh multiplication media for the last time, and then in February, she subcultured them onto rooting media. Multiplication media and rooting media are almost identical in terms of the ingredients that you use. The main difference is that you typically use a different category of hormones. For the multiplication media, we were using BAP, which is a cytokinin. Instead of cytokinins for rooting media, you would typically use auxins. Auxins are really known for helping with plant rooting. If you've ever used like a rooting powder, like Clone X, that contains usually IBA, which is a type of auxin. Auxins are naturally found in plants, especially in actively growing parts of the plant, like the root tips. But in TC, we add them in controlled amounts to manipulate how the plants are growing, so they grow how we want them to. I did the final subculture and counted the plants last week. This subculture took a really long time, like 2.5 hours, because I had to separate all of the plants, which had been growing in these clumps, so to speak. The easiest way to separate clumps of tissue culture plants when they're growing together is to get just 2 sets of forceps and just pry them apart. Lucky for me, philodendrons tend to be fairly easy to separate compared to some other types of plants. Although I did end up still murking some of the plants, especially the smaller ones. Here I am subculturing the plants like nobody's watching, but they are, and they're concerned. While we watch the ghost of subcultures past, I want to talk a little bit more about the rooting stage of tissue culture. One very common misconception about TC is that people think TC plants need roots before they can come out of tissue culture and be acclimated to growing in soil, which is the final stage of TC. Well, they're wrong. The roots that plants grow in tissue culture will almost always die once you take that plant out of TC, and it'll grow an entirely new root system anyways. The real goal of the rooting stage is to grow the plants larger to give them the best chance of being successful once you take them out of TC. For that reason, I do sort of wish that the rooting stage was called something else, like maybe the growth stage or something like that. I don't know. Just an idea. Honestly, tissue culture has really not changed much since like the 1960s when they were figuring out how to do it efficiently. So I think some of these things are just left over from then. But yeah, I've seen people leave negative reviews for tissue culture shops or laboratories because the plants didn't come with roots. And that makes me want to literally like crawl through my screen like the girl from The Ring and be like, tissue culture plants don't need roots. Because I was dealing with a high volume of plants for this transfer, I reset everything in the laminar flow hood 3 separate times to help reduce contamination. So fresh tray, fresh pairs of forceps, I think that's it. And I do that to help reduce the risk of contamination in case the forceps got contaminated or something. I'm not touching all the plants, I'm just touching a third of the plants. I ended up throwing a very decent amount of plants away that were either too small or too scrawny or just otherwise malformed. I would hope that tissue culture laboratories would be even more discerning about culling bad plants than I was here. I definitely kept a lot more plants from this batch of TC plants than I normally would because I wanted to end up with a large amount of plants for the title of the video, because on YouTube, big number good. But I think when you're producing thousands of plants at scale, quality control becomes very important. A TC lab isn't going to waste resources on subpar plants. They'll usually cull anything that doesn't meet a very strict quality standard. At least that's what I hope happens. Fun fact, they do the same thing in fish breeding. If you're breeding ornamental koi or goldfish, only a very small percentage of the fry that hatch will meet the health and beauty standards for that fish. Beauty standards probably is not the right word there, but you know what I mean. The malformed baby fish are sent to the fish farm in the sky. It's kind of harsh, but that is how you maintain quality in a high volume selective breeding system. And it's the same way for plants too. Anyways, the reason I was thinking about all this is because someone commented that I remind them of Jenny from Solid Gold Aquatics, which is a really high praise because I used to very much enjoy her channel before all her fish died and she left YouTube forever. I hope she's doing well. Let's discuss the results. You may have noticed during the subculture I was writing the number of plants on the top of each container. That's what we like to call a big brain move because it did make the plants very easy to count. Altogether, we ended up with... I almost knocked over my mic trying to get silly with it. 479 plants. But Glorb, you wrote 500 plants in the title. You lied to us, you clickbaiting piece of shit. I'm including the plants that I took out of tissue culture and acclimated back in October towards my final count. People hate when I calculate the value of what I have grown, but I think it's fun, so I'm doing this for me. Looking online, I can see that philodendron red Andersons are selling for It looks like between $16 to $40 depending on the size. Since mine are smaller, I would say that I could maybe sell them for $15 once they're acclimated to growing in soil. 500 plants times $15 each is $7,500. Obviously, if you're selling plants, you would want to factor in the cost of your labor and your supplies and your overhead, but I don't live in the real world, okay? I do think that this example is a fantastic example because it can show the scale that you can get up to very, very quickly with plant tissue culture. I personally think it's really important for plant sellers and plant nurseries to be at least exploring the idea of incorporating tissue culture into their work somehow, because it just gives you the ability to create so many uniform plants. It's very powerful. And to the people who say, why do you not just grow them from seed? A lot of plants, including philodendrons, don't really make seeds very often. It can be really hard to get some plants to produce seeds. Philodendrons don't make seeds easily, even in greenhouse conditions. It's kind of special to get philodendron seeds. Also, even if we did manage to get seeds from a philodendron, the seedlings that we would get from growing out those seeds would not be genetically identical to the parent plant or parent plants, even if the plant was self-pollinated or self-fertile. So yeah, even if we could grow philodendrons from seed, we'd end up with something similar, but not a clone. Anyways, in other news, this is the last time you'll ever see me in this laboratory. I'm moving to a new space. Actually, right after this, my dad is coming to come help me move. Like I said earlier, I will link a beginner tutorial below if you are just getting started. And the tutorial that I'm going to link is totally focused on doing home tissue culture for as cheap as possible. Okay, I have to go move all this stuff now. Bye! Not the echo.